My name is Jillian Perrick, but my friends call me Jill. I'm a lover of all things orange chocolate. Think One Tree Hill is way better than the OC. And as a person who stutters, I strive to empower women with invisible disabilities to go after their dreams, just like I did. I'm a mindset coach specializing in imposter syndrome, helping women overcome their inner imposter with my master's in psychology and my certification in neurolinguistic programming, hypnosis, EFT tapping, and time techniques. And this is the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. This podcast is for you if you're an entrepreneurial woman trying to navigate the online space with a lot of passion and a lot of uncertainty. If you feel like your ideas are unoriginal, that your message isn't necessary or important, or like you're a complete and total fraud, then you've come to the right place. This podcast will take you from imposter to empowered with ninja-like brain hacks, easy to implement strategies, and uplifting real talk to make you feel like everything you want is in reach. Find me on Instagram at YourCoachJill to let me know how much you loved this episode once you're done listening. Time to kick that inner imposter to the curb. Let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the very first episode of the From Imposter to Empowered podcast in 2021, and I cannot believe we are here. Wow, so much has changed in the past year. I can't even believe it. Personally, my business completely changed in just the matter of 1 year. This time last year in 2020, I was getting ready to go to the in-person portion of my NLP certification with Yes Supply, and I wasn't making any money. I had no consistent money in my business. I had to take time off from my job to travel down to Toronto for the training, and I honestly really knew that 2020 was gonna be my year. I mean, financially. Because let's be honest, 2020 was not great for a lot of people, and COVID and everything with that happened. A good thing from that was I was able to work from home for my job, so that really opened up my time for my coaching business. But then on Halloween night in 2020, my childhood home burnt down and our cat unfortunately passed away in the fire. My family cat, who we've had for 15 years. And that was all extremely traumatizing and hard. And it was like a roller coaster of emotions because my business was doing so fucking well in 2020, but then all these personal things were happening. And I just learned so much about who I was as a business owner. I really stepped into my power. And something that I wanted to share with you guys and just start this new year off with this type of energy is I have always bet on myself. And honestly, this was kind of a secret. It's obviously not a secret now. I'm going to do an Instagram post about this too, but I've always bet on myself. I've always been like, it doesn't look so great from this angle, from everybody else's angle, but I know that I can trust myself. I know that I am going to be successful. I know that I am going to be able to fulfill something if I put my mind to it. And that is something that I was almost secretive about. And I say that because I was scrolling through some of my Instagram posts and I found the post that I wrote for the beginning of January. It was one of the first posts that I ever posted in 2020. So it was a post that I made in the beginning of 2020. I can't remember the date. It was the first week of January type thing. And it was big, scary things I'm declaring for this year. So I wrote these posts back in December of 2019, obviously to have them scheduled out and all good because I had a social media manager, which I still do. And so I was pre-writing all these posts, and I remember writing this post, and I'll continue with what it says. It says multiple 5 figures. It says speaking events and workshops. And then it says moving into my purpose of helping women with invisible disabilities nurture their self-worth and follow their passions. And I literally didn't know what any of this was going to look like. But I will tell you that when I wrote this post, I actually wrote multiple 5 figures, ... dare I say 6. And I took it out. And I'm going to get into the episode in terms of how imposter syndrome can get in the way of you not only just accomplishing your goals, but even setting them. But I wrote that and then I took it out because I was like, fuck, what if I don't? What if I actually don't? But I always had that quiet knowing, that person in my head saying, even if you don't say it out loud, I know that you're going to be successful. Like, I know that things are going to work out for you. And I, for a very long time, did not know how to trust that voice, even though I inherently knew that I was always going to be able to do something great. I had a lot of programming and beliefs and things that were layered on top of this deep innate knowing in terms of my speech impediment, in terms of what I thought I could accomplish. And that innate knowing was kind of underneath all of those beliefs and things that I thought to be true about myself. So when I wrote this post, so I'll read it again. Big scary things I'm declaring for this year: multiple 5 figures, speaking events and workshops, and then moving into my purpose of helping women with invisible disabilities nurture their self-worth and follow their passions. And again, I didn't know what the fuck any of this was going to look like, and I actually ended up hitting over 6 figures this year. I did do a bunch of online speaking events and workshops and stuff like that, so that was good. I do have that goal to do it in person, especially because of my speech impediment. It's a bigger deal for me than just like the average person, because I also have the added stressor of the speech impediment. So that is a really huge deal if I'm able to do that. But nonetheless, because of COVID, I was still able to. It was just online. And then moving into my purpose of helping women with invisible disabilities nurture their self-worth and follow their passions. And for me, I've had about 4 or 5 people who have reached out to me and said, I suffer with this invisible disability, and seeing you talk so openly about your stutter has really helped me. I've even had people who also stutter come to me and be like, I'm so inspired by you. And honestly, that just makes me want to cry, like right here on the spot, because I was that person. Like, I would look at other people who were really owning who they were, and I used to be like, I will never be able to do that. I will never be able to be successful or do the things that I want to do because I have the stutter, because I have no self-worth, etc., etc. So taking it back to the point of this episode, because obviously it's January, the beginning of January, so everybody's talking about goal setting and what they want to achieve and everything. And imposter syndrome can really get in the way of you setting your goals. And how this happens is that you will do exactly what I did when I was writing these Instagram posts in December 2019. And when I wrote, dare I say 6, I felt like, oh my God, I can't make 6 figures. I don't even know what that would look like. I don't have the business for that. I'm not good enough for that. People are going to see this and they're going to hold me accountable, and then I'm going to fall on my face, etc., etc. So I had all these thoughts about this. And what that meant for me, and for probably a lot of you as well, is your imposter syndrome affects your ability to set a long-term goal, because you're already thinking of all the roadblocks and all the things that are going to get in the way of you actually achieving it. And then that good old fear of rejection, or just fear in general, or fear of failure, or even fear of success, get in the way of you really seeing that goal becoming a reality. So you just simply don't set goals. Or if you do, you lower them like I did. I lowered my expectations, saying multiple 5 figures, even though like I hit over 6, and I was able to project that back in May, but I still didn't think it was possible. And I just want to say how like relatable this is, how real this is, that if you don't feel good enough, if you feel like an imposter, if you feel like nothing you're doing is working, setting a goal can feel really fraudulent, pun intended. It can really feel like you're just saying an arbitrary number or doing a thing because you think you should, but you don't have any like real worth or real gusto behind it, because you just don't believe it's possible for you. So I was doing an Instagram story, and when you're listening to this, it's going to be January, but I'm recording this right now in December of 2020, just so everybody knows, in the beginning of December. And I put up an Instagram story a couple of days ago, and it was about how mindset is very simple. Like, I think we really overcomplicate it in thinking that there's this big bad way to overcome all of your limiting beliefs and change your life and blah 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 and all that bullshit. It's literally just uncovering and rewriting of the beliefs that you hold about yourself and the world to fit the highest version of yourself and your life. That can be as simple as it gets, but it's also extremely difficult, because you really need to move through limiting beliefs, not get over them. You need to figure out why you had it in the first place, uncover the root cause, release everything around it that tells you that you can't have what you want or that you can't have X because of A. You know what I mean? So when it comes to setting goals, if you have a lot of beliefs around I can't achieve this goal, or I have this that's blocking me, or that's blocking me, or I'm just not that type of person, blah, 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 that can honestly really affect how you set your goal in the first place. I think that when people talk about goal setting and coaching and stuff, they think it's very fluffy, or they think that, like, oh yeah, like anybody can set a goal, like whatever. But the reason why some people achieve so much more than another person, even if they have the same goal, is because they're actively working on their mindset and working on the beliefs that are behind them and around them and like what they embody. And the people that make it are the people that are always working on themselves in that way. That if they hit up against a limiting belief that says that they can't have something, or a limitation that says it's going to be difficult or whatever, they literally maneuver their way around it. They make it work. They change their beliefs. They do that work. And I think that is something that when I was starting out in the beginning, it was really hard for me to grasp. Like, I was like, why do I, as a mindset coach, have to do all this work on myself in order to be seen as legitimate? Like, I thought that in itself was imposter syndrome. But it wasn't. It's like when you really understand yourself well, when you have gone through the process of unlearning beliefs, you understand what it takes and you're able to speak from experience. And when you're doing this type of work, like, people just want to know that they're not alone. Like, people just want to feel like they belong and feel like their emotions are okay, that their life experiences are okay, that they're safe now, and that this work can actually be super fun because it's like unlocking a new level on like fucking Mario Kart or Mario Brothers or whatever. I was always Princess Peach, just so everybody is aware, and I don't think anybody would have questioned that because obviously she is blonde and she's pink. Oh, she wears pink. Sorry, she's not pink, but she is Princess Peach. Anyways, so I think that when you are setting a goal, especially if you're getting ready to set your goals for 2021, I want you to just really, every time you set a goal, or every time something comes into your head and you think there's no way I could accomplish that, write it down. Because first of all, the power of writing stuff down is really amazing, and you'll also be so grateful you did, because then you can like look back on it and be like, oh my god, I wrote this and it came true. It's amazing. But pay attention to those thoughts that come up when you set a goal and something in your head says you can't have that, or when you write down a goal and you instantly want to erase it because you're like, there's no way that that's going to happen for me. What is telling you that that won't happen for you? That is a limiting belief. As everybody knows, I'm in Reese from Yes Supplies Manifest Money for Good Mastermind, and she always says, like, when I don't have something that I want to manifest, I know that there's work to be done. She still actively does NLP techniques on herself. She still actively works through her own limiting beliefs, because she says, if I want $1 million month and I don't have it, there's clearly work that has to be done. She takes like radical responsibility for everything in her life, and I think it's very inspiring, because it's never about victim blaming or anything like that. She doesn't give off that vibe. It's more so like, I'm taking radical responsibility for everything that's happening to me, and that includes even if something isn't fair, and even if something is in my way or a roadblock, like, I'm going to fucking mow that roadblock over. She would never say that in that way because she's an angel, but I'm saying that it's extremely inspiring when she talks about how she does the work on herself, and that just really stuck out to me in terms of like, if I don't have something, it's because I have to do the work to get it. And this leads me again to talk about a post that I made like a while ago about how like your next level is always available to you. It's just you decide that you're worthy of that next level. And sometimes that does take time. Sometimes that does take time to do the work and unlearn and deprogram and do the breath work and celebrate the small wins. And it's just like your business. Like, we've been talking a lot in the Your Next Level Mastery Mastermind that I run with Julia, also with my one-to-one clients, how we have this feeling of finality with a lot of things. We feel like I just need to get to the end of this month and I need to make this money so I can pay this and then I can breathe. Or I just need to hit 10,000 followers so I can do the swipe up link and then I can breathe. And we're always chasing a feeling, and sometimes we're chasing that I can relax type of moment, and your business won't be successful if that's how you think. You need to see your business as an ever evolving, growing thing. And same with you, like same with your physical body and your mind. You are evolving, you are growing, you are learning new things every single day that are helping push the needle forward. Your business and how it looks right now is not going to look this way in 10 years. And that's a beautiful thing because you're going to be growing and evolving. And isn't it just so much more fun for you to be along for the ride and trust the process instead of thinking that you need to slap a date onto your success or slap a date onto, if I don't achieve this by this date, then I guess that means I'm a big fat fucking failure. And it's just like, that doesn't have to be your story. That doesn't have to be the case. And I want you to go into 2021 with this energy that like, whatever happens, I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to work hard, do my thing, show up. I'm going to experience negative emotions. I'm going to experience times where I'm tired and I don't want to show up. I'm going to experience times when I don't know if I'm being a good coach or not, but I'm going to work through it. I'm going to work through it. I'm going to constantly be learning and growing and evolving, and no one can fucking stop me. That is the energy that you need to take into 2021. So imposter syndrome really can affect the way that you see your goals, and the work is in your belief system. The work is when something tells you I can't have that, whether that's a person, whether that's you and your inner imposter, whether that's when you're writing down a number like I did in the beginning of January during my NLP certification. I wrote down 85K, and when I saw it, I was like, there's no way I'm going to make that. And I completely surpassed that in a short amount of time. In like 9 months, I surpassed that. And yeah, I think that everybody has access to shifting their belief system. I think that even if there is a barrier to something that you really want, you can achieve whatever the fuck you want if you put your mind to it. And the same thing goes with your business. And just don't let a circumstance or an experience tell you what is possible for you. And if you're feeling impatient about the success of your business, if you have just spent the last year feeling frustrated because you didn't sign a client, or you didn't do this, or you didn't do that, like, just remember that your success is inevitable. It's just up to you to continue to do the work, and everything is working for you. And if you really believe that and trust that and continuously work on yourself and do all of these things, it will happen for you in the time that it's supposed to. So, hope you guys loved this episode. I'm so excited to bring you 2021, like a whole new year of podcasts and exciting things coming up for JP Coaching. And I'm just so grateful for you guys being along for the ride with me. And I hope that you had an amazing holiday and new year, and that you are ready to fuck shit up in 2021. And I can't wait to watch you do it. Have a great day, you guys. Love you. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Leave a review so I can continue to make amazing free content for you guys. And speaking of free content, you can go to the link in my show notes and download my free 30-day journaling prompt workbook to help you overcome your inner imposter and attract the abundance you deserve. And finally, screenshot this episode and share it to your Instagram story, tagging me at YourCoachJill so I can share it on my page. See you next time.